The National Desk, America's News, now.
Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice.
Challenge accepted. 2 debates are on the schedule when and where Biden and Trump will take the stage together before the November election. And then new details about the truck driver charged with killing at least 8 people in Florida, what he may have been under the influence of at the time of the crash. And salmonella alert. A warning has been issued in 28 states for certain cream cheese brands where you need to be on the lookout for contaminated spreads. This is the National Desk, America's News Now. I'm Amira David. Right now, crews are working to clean up an oil spill in Galveston, where earlier today, a barge carrying fuel for other ships rammed into a bridge connecting Galveston to Pelican Island. The fuel capacity on the barge is 30,000 gallons. Authorities at this time don't know how much of the fuel is in the water, but the Pelican Island Bridge, the only roadway to the island, is closed and will remain off limits until it is safe to use. One person fell into the river but was rescued. There are no other reports of any injuries. While on Capitol Hill today, lawmakers got an update on the bridge collapse in Baltimore. Kayla Gaskins has the latest on the cause and the cost of the tragedy that took 6 lives.
The leaders of the federal agencies responding to the Key Bridge disaster were on Capitol Hill Wednesday, providing Congress with updates on the crash investigation and cleanup efforts.
Over 6,000 tons of steel and concrete have been removed from the wreckage field. I'll report today that Unified Command believes that the dolly will be able to be refloated and removed from that site early next week.
The hearing comes one day after NTSB released a 20-page preliminary report. Their investigation finding the ship had 4 power blackouts, 2 the day before from routine maintenance and 2 right before striking the bridge.
This is a complex investigation. Our investigators have been on scene consistently since this accident.
Estimates place the cost to rebuild the bridge at around $2 billion. In the hours after the collapse, President Biden promised the federal government would front the money initially so reconstruction isn't delayed.
I fully support federal funding up front. Let's get this thing built. Let's get it done as quickly as possible. We've got a toll. We've got a responsible party. This isn't a natural disaster. And I think that we need to make sure that we're holding the responsible party accountable.
As for responsibility, the NTSB says they still have work to do to finalize their investigation. The ship's owners, a Singapore-based company, filed a petition in Maryland to exonerate themselves from liability. The ship was also inspected and cleared by the U.S. Coast Guard 6 months before the accident.
How that tab is divvied up, I think we ought to be thoughtful about.
And Amir, lawmakers Wednesday made it clear they want money recouped from the lawsuits and insurance to go towards reimbursing the federal government, which ultimately means reimbursing American taxpayers.
And Kayla, the Key Bridge is a toll bridge, so there's concerns over tolls. And my understanding is that came up today. What can you tell us?
Yeah, this ended up being a topic that was brought up multiple times today by many different lawmakers, is the question of what to eventually do about the tolls the bridge that the bridge collects. In 2023, the bridge brought in $56.8 million in revenue for the state of Maryland. Now the question is, if the federal government, which is essentially American taxpayers, pays the upfront cost for reconstructing the bridge, will those same taxpayers then have to pay a toll to go across the bridge that they had already given to build? Lawmakers are concerned that this would set a precedent, and they want the federal agencies to sort this out as soon as possible.
Yeah, it creates a little bit of a hairy situation there. Well, thank you for keeping us updated as always. Kayla Gaskins live from Washington, D.C. And the driver of that truck that crashed into a bus and killed 8 farm workers in Marion County, well, Florida yesterday took several drugs the night before. That's the latest that we're learning from an arrest report released today. That report says Brian McLean Howard vaped marijuana oil, then took prescription Klonopin, Lyrica, and Clonidine. It also says he'd been in another accident just days ago. Howard pleaded not guilty to charges of manslaughter while driving under the influence. He's being held without bail and is due back in court on June 18th. Right now, a search underway for a man the FBI says is responsible for nationwide swatting attacks. 18-year-old Braden Grace from Columbus, Ohio, has been indicted on multiple counts, including cyberstalking and making threats based on false pretenses across state lines. He's believed to be a part of an online group known as Purgatory that uses social media apps to coordinate the threats. Michael Aaron Jane was in court today on 9 felonies, including capital murder charges. Jane is accused of using a semi-truck to intentionally kill Santaquin Police Sergeant Bill Hooser during a traffic stop on May 5th. The Utah County Attorney's Office plans to seek the death penalty if Jane is convicted. President Biden honoring fallen heroes today. Biden addressed police officers at the annual National Peace Officers Memorial Service on Capitol Hill this afternoon. This, as we learned, 60 officers across the country died by assault last year. The rate of assaults against officers hit a 10-year high in the year 2023. The president paid tribute to the families of those officers and said they represented the, quote, very best of America.
You always run toward danger as others run away from it. Most of you, when you were kids, you did it, long before you became an officer. You run toward the cries for help, knowing that you could be of help. It's part of your DNA to serve, to protect, to defend. You represent the very best of America. You're the steel spine of this country.
President Biden and former President Trump set for a showdown, and both have officially settled on dates. There are 2 dates that we know of right now that are on the books. We have June 27th. That will be hosted by CNN, and also September 10th, that debate hosted by ABC. The National Desk's Christine Frizzau tracking the events, sure to see millions tune in.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice.
Challenge accepted. Former President Donald Trump posting on Truth Social, I am ready and willing to debate Crooked Joe at the 2 proposed times in June and September. While also calling for more than 2 debates, the agreed upon dates are now June 27th, hosted by CNN, and September 10th, hosted by ABC. The devil now in the details.
There could be a fight over specific journalists that are chosen to ask the questions. There could be a fight over how long the debate is. Any and every little thing is potentially a landmine that could blow the whole thing up.
Other questions include whether the current president and the former one will be sitting or standing.
He wants to sit down. He wants to do things like he wants to sit down. I think a debate should be standing up.
Trump and Biden now negotiating directly with the networks on every aspect, since their agreement cuts out the Bipartisan Commission on Presidential Debates, which has organized them for more than 3 decades. The proposal by the Biden campaign includes a format with no audience and no third-party candidates.
It's Donald Trump who said he would do this anytime, anywhere, any place. So I don't think that they should have any problems with what we have proposed.
Professor Alan Schroeder wrote a book on the evolution of televised presidential debates and is also concerned about a much lower audience size since the debate will only be broadcast on the network hosting it, but says he expects the show will go on.
I think the good thing here is that Trump and Biden are both fairly evenly matched in the polls right now, so they both need debates.
Third-party candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. now responding to the proposal to exclude him, accusing Trump and Biden of collusion, saying keeping viable candidates off the debate stage undermines democracy. I'm Christine Frizzau for the National Desk.
Fatal overdoses in the U.S. fell in 2023. That's according to the CDC. Early data released today shows more than 107,000 people died from overdoses last year. That's about a 4,000 drop from 2022. The agency notes that this data could change following more evaluation, but the final count is still expected to be lower. This would only be the second decline in more than 3 decades. 8 teens are recovering after eating marijuana edibles during a field trip to La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles yesterday. The LA Fire Department said a security officer saw that they'd gotten sick and called 911. The La Brea Tar Pits posted on X that the students' symptoms were not related to their trip to the site itself, and it's not clear where those kids go to school. Opening statements were made today in the bribery trial of Democratic New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez. The prosecution said they will make their case in part through text messages from the senator's wife that implicate both of them, as well as the money and gold bars found inside the senator's home. The defense also opened today with an effort to distance the senator from his wife, blaming her for the bribery scheme. Nadine Menendez will be tried separately this summer. Coming up, the South is not catching a break from severe weather. Which states can expect big thunderstorms, hail, and tornadoes tonight? Then the latest person who wants to buy TikTok as the app faces the looming threat of a ban. And later, a series of school bus crashes in New England has parents on edge. The concern in the community when we come back. Right now, more than 14 million people are under flood alerts and 7 million under thunderstorm alerts. Severe thunderstorms are forecast across the southern plains tonight, bringing damaging winds, large hail, and possible tornadoes to the region. Parts of the North and South Carolina are also at risk. This as pockets of the South work to clean up from strong storms yesterday. And you can see some of the damage left behind in Lawrence County, Tennessee. Officials there saying there may have been a tornado. They're working to determine that right now. At least 3 people died in Louisiana on Monday because of severe weather, including a pregnant woman and her unborn child. Developing right now, Slovakia's prime minister tonight in life-threatening condition after being shot multiple times, sending shockwaves across Europe and the world just weeks before an election. You're looking at video of the Prime Minister Robert Fico being transported to a hospital for treatment. This happened outside of a government building in Hanlova, and an initial investigation shows a clear political motivation in the shooting. A suspect was immediately swarmed and arrested at the scene. President Biden has condemned the attack and said the U.S. Embassy is in close touch with the government of Slovakia and ready to assist in any way needed. Former LA Dodgers owner Frank McCourt says he's putting together a people's bid, leaning in part on crowdfunding to purchase TikTok. The billionaire businessman says he would prioritize transparency on the app, making sure that users have control of who has access to their data. Legislation that put TikTok on the chopping block was signed by President Biden last month over concerns about its Chinese parent company and espionage possibilities. The law gives TikTok 9 months to sell or be restricted from U.S. app stores. And it comes a day after 8 TikTok content creators filed a lawsuit against the U.S. government over that very law. The lawsuit argues the measure violates users' First Amendment rights to free speech. It follows a similar lawsuit filed by TikTok and ByteDance last week. The 8 content creators represent a range of backgrounds and professions, and they include Kiera Span, an advocate for sexual assault survivors. Here's what she told CNN today.
It's taking away my free speech. It's taking away all of my followers and all of Americans' free speech rights to access information, to consume information, to share information freely.
The GOP has a better chance of regaining a Senate majority following last night's primaries. A popular Republican, West Virginia Governor Jim Justice, won the GOP nomination there. That seat will most likely flip red as Senator Joe Manchin retires. And former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan won the Republican nomination in the race against Angela Alsobrooks. The Prince George's County executive. The U.S. Supreme Court has ordered Louisiana to use a congressional map that adds an additional black district in this year's vote. The decision overruled a lower court that called the suggested map an illegal racial gerrymander. Louisiana has 6 congressional districts, and this ruling could give Democrats a better chance at flipping the entire House following the November election. Operation Crime and Justice. Inconspicuous thefts happening so subtly. Criminals are getting away with untraditional robberies right under a bank teller's nose. Police in Tennessee say members of a well-rehearsed crime ring targeted area banks and made off with thousands of dollars of victims' money. And it might not just be a local operation. The National Desk's Megan O'Halloran has more.
Right now, police are looking for this man. They say he's carrying this fake ID from Alabama, pairing up his picture with all of his next victim's personal information. Now watch as he walks right into a Redstone Financial Credit Union in Murfreesboro, where police say he commits fraud and identity theft.
I need $4,200 out of my savings, please.
Okay.
She was working on already. I had to go make sure my Uber driver didn't leave me.
Oh, you're all good. Well, here, I got your. Oh, wait, you already have the ID back.
Police say this accused unnamed and unknown con man shows no hesitation as he flashes that fake ID and makes his next request.
I have one savings with $8,200, and I wanted to take out $42 out of it.
Yeah, you're good. Is it the one you're talking about? Is a business account? Is that the one you want it from?
I'm not just the savings with $8,200 in it. Yeah, I'm not sure which one I put it under.
Detectives do believe this is part of a bigger crime ring, a crime ring where they're going around taking advantage of unsuspecting victims.
And while this guy is patiently waiting for a payout, he's giving police a good look at his face. Police are looking at this video and gathering leads, believing that he's operating in tandem with a larger fraud ring out of Alabama. Police also link the same activity to a different man seen here, who they say made multiple transactions and fraudulent withdrawals in the last month.
That was Megan O'Halloran reporting. Cream cheese sold by Hy-Vee and Aldi is being recalled for possible salmonella contamination in 28 states and the District of Columbia. At Aldi, several 8-ounce varieties of the Happy Farms brand are part of the recall, including whipped, chive and onion and strawberry cream cheese spreads. Hy-Vee's recalled products include its whipped and plain cream cheese spreads, along with its cookies and cream snack mix. No illnesses have been reported so far, but you should throw those products away or return them for a refund. A breast cancer survivor wants you to know wherever you are in the journey, you are not alone. Medical reporter Liz Bonas shares how she says a team of angels and high-tech medicine helped her along the way.
Hey everybody, her breast cancer journey led her to a radiation team that she says sort of became like her family. But newer technology and newer techniques in this field are healing in a lot of ways.
Kathy Bauer was so grateful the day she got to ring the bell here at Ohio's Bethesda North Hospital. It signified successfully that she'd completed chemotherapy. And even with radiation yet to come, as this demonstration shows, she says she'd already realized.
The profound thing of this journey for me was that I realized I'm not doing this alone.
Dr. Tasneem Kaleem, a radiation oncologist, says that's exactly the goal of precision medicine: personalized treatment with an entire team to meet your needs.
In her case, we knew up front, clinically, she had lymph nodes, so you always have radiation afterwards.
Radiation therapy reduces recurrence risk. It delivers a high-energy X-ray to a very specific target. But with precision medicine,
the way that we actually determine the target is we have the patient come in and do something called a CT simulation, which is basically a planning scan where we map everything out, and that takes about an hour. Once we have that mapping scan, then we actually can design the radiation specifically to her anatomy.
they also designed a very specific breathing technique for Kathy to limit risk to surrounding organs.
And by doing that, the heart actually moves out of the radiation field.
For Kathy, it worked. She is now cancer-free. She says only once did she ask God why this all happened to her. Her answer?
It was along the lines of, because you need to keep my angels doing their job. And when you think about who are the angels, all our nurses and technologists and my doctors, they're all my angels. They're doing their jobs.
Kathy does now go for regular follow-ups. She encourages all of us to do the same. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
Coming up, a Nashville hotel says they canceled a summit on Israel because of threats. Why they are now facing backlash. We have reporters all across the country in your neighborhoods covering the issues that matter most to you. We're taking the pulse of America.
A dangerous drive for a woman Monday afternoon near West Palm Beach.
The Jeep is on fire and the girl's laying on the road. She jumped out of the car. And they're giving her water now. She's got blood coming from her mouth a little bit. She's scraped up bad on her hand, on her arm and shoulder.
Police body camera footage shows the moment a cop walks up to first responders already helping the injured driver lying on the ground in the northbound lanes of I-95 near Forest Hill Boulevard.
When I got there, saw the woman. She was talking. She was awake.
Police say the fact she jumped out of her moving Jeep in flames onto one of the nation's busiest highways and survived is nothing short of a miracle.
The Sonesta Nashville Airport Hotel is supposed to host a summit with Hayovel, a Christian ministry to support Israel. Executive General Counsel for First Liberty Institute, Hiram Sasser, says the hotel told Hayovel that they had to cancel the conference due to threats.
What's happened here is that because of these protesters are protesting the event because it is supporting the Jewish people, for the hotel to cancel that, they're adopting essentially the discriminatory intent of those agitators and protesters.
Sasser adds Sonesta hotel representatives claimed police told them they should cancel the event. Fox 17 News reached out to the hotel to see if this is true, but we have not heard back. We then reached out to Metro Police, and they say their department did not advocate for the cancellation of the conference.
Busted windshields, damaged bumpers, children on edge.
Luckily for me, it wasn't so bad, but some of my friends, they really hurt their backs.
Riley Haleborn, a sophomore on the West Warwick High School track team. They were traveling down I-95 in West Greenwich Monday night when the bus hit a portable aero board that was being towed by an Aetna Bridge Company truck for RIDOT. 8 people injured, including 4 students. Riley walked away with some bruises to her leg. In New Bedford, 3 people hurt when a car collided with 2 school buses Monday morning. And less than 24 hours later, another bus crashed. This time in Cranston, where police say a bus rear-ended a car which suddenly stopped to let someone pass. No serious injuries for students or staff, but parents say the numbers are concerning.
Coming up, the major deal just announced by Netflix as the service expands to include sports entertainment. Well, Netflix wants to be part of your family Christmas tradition. In the streaming platform's first true step into live sports, Netflix has announced a deal to stream NFL games for the next 3 Christmases. Unclear how much Netflix paid for those rights, but it is clear the company is taking huge strides into sports entertainment, recently announcing a deal to stream WWE's Raw and a boxing match between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. And by the way, the NFL is set to reveal its 2024 season lineup tonight, while coverage for the full release will begin at 8 p.m. There have already been a few early reveals from the NFL, including that the NFL kickoff game this year is a planned rematch of last year's AFC Championship game between the Baltimore Ravens and Super Bowl champs Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium, sure to be a fan favorite. That does it for this edition of the National Desk. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful night.